All right, guys, what's up? Mike here, head trader at True Trading Group, November 4th. Solid day. One trade for me today. Short JNUG was all I needed, was a big win. Before I get into this trade, well, first, what we're going to talk about in this video, guys, is going to be how to use some commodities prices and futures pricing, in this case gold, but you can use this in oil. A lot of times when I've made trades in drip, I would use that going off of the price of oil. And it's important, if you're going to make a trade in one of these ETFs and commodity related ETFs, that you understand how to go about following along with the futures prices of the commodity itself, because they will have an effect on the price action of those ETFs. JNUG today, I shorted JNUG because of a fundamental reason why I thought gold was going to pull in today. And then I used the gold futures price as kind of a barometer and a gauge on this JNUG short, because I actually got up to a full maxed out tier 3 position size, and I added to my original position on JNUG because of something very specific that I saw in the futures price for gold. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Before we get into that, tomorrow's TGG Tuesday. Chat room is open, free for everybody. You guys can see my screen, hear me on the mic, breaking down my analysis, know exactly what I'm doing and why. Go to truetradinggroup.com. Upper right-hand corner, you'll see it'll say TTG Tuesday. Click on that, fill out the form, and you'll get a link that'll give you access to our chat room for free for the whole day tomorrow. All right? So come and chat. Send me a private message, ask me questions. Let's bounce some trade ideas off of one another, and let me know you're from the YouTube community. Say hi. I'd love to hear from you guys. All right. So with that said, let's get to the JNUG trade. Okay. Now let's go out to the daily chart on JNUG, because this trade is a little fundamental. It's a little technical. It's a little bit of both here. So what I'm looking at on JNUG was this $70 level. Okay, you can see a previous little resistance point here. The last 2 days, we've had trouble breaking through this level, and this teal line on my screen is the 50-day moving average. So we've got the 50-day moving average, and then this area that we've had a hard time breaking above. Now, we came into the day today with a big gap up in the SPY, the Dow, and the overall markets. SPY and NASDAQ already made new all-time highs. Dow made new all-time highs today. And it was a significant gap up. A lot of that gap up came from positive or much better than expected economic data coming out of France and Germany. Germany specifically is important, because Germany was one of the biggest concerns a few months ago when recessionary fears started coming across kind of the news lines and dominated media coverage. Germany was bad. Germany actually got to negative numbers. They were one of the first ones to show that weakness. So Europe in general has been a mess. But to get positive and better than expected economic data out of France and Germany is going to start to ease some recessionary fears. Now, why is that important? Because recessionary fears in the U.S. are really faded. They have really faded. The overwhelming majority of people now do not believe we're going to be going into a recession, when just a few months ago, it's all anybody talked about was recession is inevitable. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Now, all of a sudden, those fears are fading. Fed cut interest rates the other day, and now we're at all-time highs. Okay. Economic data is not as bad as people thought it was going to be. Jobs numbers were fantastic. Earnings are better than people expected them to be. Earnings aren't, gangbusters, but they're better than people expected. Some may argue that expectations were low coming in, but nonetheless, they're still better than people expected. And, a lot of that is all adding together to all-time highs. So I'm thinking to myself today, if we've got kind of this double top area, this $70 area that JNUG is having a hard time getting through. JNUG, guys, is the 3 times bullish junior gold miners ETF. Okay, so if the price of gold goes down a lot, usually JNUG will also move lower. The price of gold goes up a lot, usually JNUG will move higher. And I thought coming into the day today that gold was going to pull in as recessionary fears faded, as people stopped worrying so much about Germany, so much about Europe. You're already seeing recessionary fears in the U.S. fade drastically. They already have been. I thought that gold was due for a pullback. So coming into the day today, my number one focus today was JNUG short. Okay, my number one focus today was JNUG short. And I thought that this was the perfect little area for JNUG, 67. Okay, you guys can see this previous little support, and then as I zoom in, you guys can see this was even an initial morning high on the 31st. Okay, so 31st was initial morning high. We broke through, pulled back in support, gap down support, pulled back in support, and then we're having a tough time getting above this $70 level, which is also the 50-day moving average, that teal line on my screen. So I'm thinking to myself as we come into the day today, JNUG gaps down, I'm thinking I want to get short this thing in front of that 50-day moving average and look for gold to pull back in. So what do I need to do? I need to take a look at the futures price for gold. Okay, so here is a chart. For those of you that do not have futures data, investing.com provides free real-time futures pricing and charting. Okay, so it's totally free. All right, investing.com. So right here I have gold. Okay, and now as I kind of zoom this in here, this is 9 a.m. Okay, right here is 9 a.m. where you see my little mouse is circling around. This is 9 a.m. And I'm looking for us to break below 1511, this area right here. Why? Because you can see this previous little double bottom support right here. Okay, and I'm saying if we get below this level, I think gold is going to have a significant pullback. And that should trigger a move in JNUG down to this $67 level. So that's why coming into the day today, my number one focus was JNUG short. Okay, so I'll take you guys to my trade announcements, and you can see here early in the day. Okay, let's see. Sure. Oh, wow. Guys, these times, because of daylight savings, I didn't adjust the time in the chat room. So these are my trade announcements that get posted in chat, but I didn't adjust the time in the chat. So this is technically 9:33 a.m. Okay, so all of these timestamps are all an hour later than they should be. So this should be 9:30, this should be 10:20, 10:31, 11:07, and 11:21. Okay, so at 9:33 a.m., not 10:33, I have to go change the clock in the chat room. I shorted JNUG at 69.77 with a stop loss around the 70.50 area. Okay, so right here is my entry short. Right there. Okay, there's the entry short. Okay, at 69.77. Back to my trade analysis, you go 69.77. Okay, now let's now go back to gold and think to myself, where is there an area of resistance that if we really break through, that I need to really be worried about JNUG? Because excuse me, if we break through a resistance area on gold, that means gold's going to move higher. JNUG should also move higher with it. So I'm looking for JNUG to break below 1511. Now, right off the bell, the price of gold starts to dip, and we go down right here to test that 1511 area, and right there we test that 1511 area and bounce back aggressively. So right there, I started to get a little concerned with this position because we started to bounce back in the price of gold, showing me that this 1511 support level is still intact, is not yet broken, and that caused JNUG to rally to new intraday highs. Okay, we went right up into my stop loss area. 70.50 I said was my stop loss. Okay, right there is 70.50. So I really was tested at this point. I did not bail and cover this position just yet, because as we go back, you can see on this bounce back, we did not break above Okay, these are 5-minute candles, by the way, for the futures. We did not break above this previous resistance. This is the level that I was looking at. Okay, you guys see right here. Okay, you can go back here. We had some resistance. Then it was support right here. As we scroll across, this was more resistance. This is that 1514 area on gold. So I'm using technical levels, support and resistance levels in the futures price of gold to help me gauge my positioning and strength and weakness in JNUG. Okay? And this is how you guys can use commodities prices to help you when you are trading some of these ETFs that are commodities related. Okay? So I said if we get above 1514, I've got to think about exiting this position. Okay? But you can see we came up here. These are 5-minute candles again. Rejected, 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 and we had a pullback. That rejected pullback right there in gold created this in JNUG. Now JNUG had that big pullback. And now I thought, when that happened, I said, okay, whew, that was a close one, but now I'm in the clear. Now I'm in the clear, right? Now I think we're going to get that rollover. But gold was still not done. Gold, I then moved up higher, very briefly broke through 1514, actually went to 1514.15. So we just touched above, okay, that 1514 level. But when that happened for the futures price of gold, notice how JNUG was not able to get back to the high of the day. Okay, notice how JNUG was not able to get back to the high of the day. So the price of gold is actually higher at this point than it was previously, and JNUG is making lower highs. Okay, so making lower highs. So that tells me a little bit of some weakness in JNUG in relation to the price of gold, because gold actually made a new high at that point and broke through that resistance level right here. Okay, then you had this huge rejection candle. We pierced 1514, and then you had these two strong red candles. And when I saw these two strong red candles, I said, that's it. That's the rejection at 1514. Yes, we pierced through it for a couple seconds, okay, just a couple of pennies through 1514, but then got rejected aggressively. For all intents and purposes, the resistance level held and rejected the price of gold aggressively. When I saw that, and I'm saying JNUG is not even at the high of the day, I said I'm adding to this position, and I took advantage right here, and I added to a maxed tier 3 short at 69.84, and I moved my stop loss down to 70.30. Okay, so now I added to the position to a max tier 3 at 69.84. I'm already short from 69.77, and I moved my stop loss down 20 cents. Because now I'm saying we shouldn't get above this area, which is this previous pivot high. And if JNUG does get above that area, then it most likely breaks through the high of the day if gold continues. Okay, but that rejection at 1514 on the price of gold created the sell-off that I was looking for, and you can see right here, okay, at around 10:30, 10:40 in the morning, we broke below 1511, and then this huge sell-off ensued, took us all the way down to like 1506.50, all the way down below that 1507 area, and then that just created this big sell-off in JNUG, and we went right down perfectly to that support level that was my target. And I'll show you guys my take profits. I covered some at 68.75. I covered more at 68.20, and my final take profit 66.88, right in front of that level, okay, for my final take profit. And this was a really, really, really nice trade. Honestly, I was very happy with this trade because, you know, when I added to the position, I was very happy with the way that I was reading the price of gold. And I was able to add to that max size position, so I had big size on this, caught a couple of points, one and done for the day was all I needed. It was my number one focus. We came in, we focused on it, we nailed it, and I really didn't see a need to trade anything else. A big day, great way to start the week, and so far November off to a pretty good start. All right. So that's it, guys. Make sure, again, if you don't have the data, investing.com gives it for free. Okay, so you guys can go check that out. And that's it. So, I hope this was useful and helpful. Everything we talked about, if you're trading oil, you're trading some of the oil ETFs, that, the same thing applies when you're looking at the price of oil and how it will affect some of those oil related ETFs. In this case, I just used the gold future prices to help me in my JNUG position. And it was a thing of beauty. All right. I hope to see many of you in chat with me tomorrow for free TTG Tuesday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.